most people, and at the end of the day, you want to hear people for why they're coming to you, because it really is a sign of that they're struggling, and you want to support people, but give them the right tools that help them with both their immediate goals, but also support their long-term health. So you've shared that most people come to you because they're looking for weight loss. If somebody isn't necessarily looking for weight loss, is this on-ramp of fasting still a good approach for them? The idea of time-restricted eating.
Yeah, I think everybody should get used to what it feels like to be in ketosis. Let's go back to a really key principle, which is we have two ways we make energy. We make one from when we eat food and our blood sugar rises, and we make energy when the blood sugar dips for an extended period of time. We switch over into the fat burning system, into the ketogenic energy system, and we use ketones to fuel our brain. Our brain requires 50% of the fuel needs of the brain are ketones. The other 50% is glucose. So if we've never dipped into the ketogenic system and given the brain ketones, then we're missing a whole fuel that the brain needs to function and perform at its best, which is why you see, people who once they come to fasting for weight loss, they lose weight. They're like blown away at how powerful their brain is working, how much cognition they have, how much their memory kicks back in. That's a huge reason to keep fasting. We also, in my practice, I used to throw supplement after supplement at gut issues. People had been on antibiotics for years. And then I've discovered, gosh, if I just put them regularly in and out of a 24-hour fast, that intestinal stem cells would kick in and the body would heal itself just by giving it a break from food. It would go, okay, now let me give you some nutrients that will heal. So I think that's the big part of fasting. I love that it's a trend for weight loss. Great. But because it's what the body is designed to do, there's all these other healing mechanisms that will kick in for you.
So now that we know that that's a great way to get started, and more details inside the book, and of course you have a YouTube channel, we have a link to it in the side of the show notes. You have a ton of content on this. So anybody that wants to drill down, you do these really fun fasting Q&As. I watched a couple and you kind of like really go into the weeds, and answer people's questions, and you make them funny and fun. And
thank you.
So we have a link to that at the bottom for people that want to go deeper. But now let's get into some of these more different type of fasts that you've set up based on the experience of putting, thousands of people through this and them going through it, whether it's your Facebook group that you have, your YouTube channel, people just trying stuff and seeing what works. So walk us through a couple of those to get started.
Yeah. So the way I like to explain it is that once you start to think about your food in this eating window, then now you can think about, okay, if I compress my eating for longer periods of time, going longer times of fasting, or for shorter periods of times, going longer times of fasting, what switches are going to get turned on? And that's the way I like to look at it, is like they're like healing switches that get turned on. So and there's 6 of them that I have found have worked the best, and they're based off of research, and then they're based off of what I saw on my YouTube channel. And I mean, literally millions of comments and millions of people worldwide that we have seen move through these 6. And here are the 6. The first is what we've been talking about. It's just intermittent fasting. It's 12 to 16 hours. You're going to start to switch over into the fat burning system. You're going to get some ketones. You're going to get some growth hormone. You're going to get some testosterone. It's a great place to live. Once you extend that to 17 hours, autophagy kicks in. And autophagy is like a dimmer switch. It starts to turn on at 17 hours. But what's so brilliant about autophagy is that the intelligence inside the cell is like, okay, no food's coming, nutrients aren't coming, so I better become more efficient. So all the cells that are no longer working well, it'll get rid of those. They're called senescent cells. If it can repair the cell, repair mitochondria, repair endoplasmic reticulum, can get the membrane of the cell more porous, it'll do that. The autophagy will cure the dysfunctional cell and make it better again. You get to 24 hours, now we're getting the gut repairing. 36 hours, what we're seeing is that's long enough for those stubborn weight loss situations. The body will go and find all the fat that it stored years ago around your waist, your hips, your liver. It'll go and burn that. 48 hours, which actually clinically and research-wise, dopamine, the whole dopamine system will be reset and new dopamine receptor sites will start to be formed. So when you bring food back in after that, you'll start to enjoy food more. You'll also notice other things in your life you'll enjoy more because it resets the dopamine system. And then 72 hours is what Walter Longo taught us about rebooting your whole immune system. So old white blood cells will be tossed away and new white blood cells will be formed. You get full body intestinal stem cells that will happen. You know, people are paying tens of thousands of dollars for stem cells right now. You throw a 3-day water fast at it, and now you're getting this massive systemic surge of stem cells. So we have to start to look at fasting as a healing tool. It's not a fad diet. It is a healing tool that you can choose to step into depending on which one of those tools I just mentioned you want to pull out.
Okay, check this out. I have a free fasting guide for you all. It's free. And it's going to teach you all the basics of fasting. It's going to teach you how to kill hunger when you fast, which is really cool. And it's going to show you how to break your fast, among many other things. All you got to do is click on this link right here and enjoy.
Going back to women, because the book is Fast Like a Girl, is what is the cadence? Something like the time-restricted eating and closing that window, that's obviously becomes a lifestyle of yours, right?
Yep.
Fasting also becomes a lifestyle, but the question becomes, when people hear about, wow, I can like reset my gut, I can create new stem cells. The tendency for human beings is naturally to kind of overdo it a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
So what's the cadence of something like a 48-hour fast? Like, how often should we be thinking about incorporating it? Not we, sorry, but specifically women.
Women, yeah. So again, you have to ask yourself, what's the tool you're looking for? So in general, what I recommend, and I'll kind of go through the longer fast, I think the 3-day water fast twice a year is a great time to just get rid of senescent cells that are aging you quickly, or cells that are going to go rogue and become, tumors. Get rid of those.
Yeah. So just to be clear, so everybody hears, and we go on record, we're not talking about doing this every month.
No.
Right? This is something that is used as a targeted tool.
That's right.
To support the body and longevity. And it sounds like you're also pulling together a lot of the research from individuals like you mentioned, Dr. Walter Longo, who's been on this podcast before.
Awesome.
So, okay, great. So twice a year.
Twice a year, January, September, fantastic times to go into.
January and September.
Yeah. Okay. I choose those because we typically go off and overindulge in the holidays and we overindulge in the summer. Mm-hmm. So depending on what hemisphere you're living in, that's typically the way I choose those two. So, but twice a year, you're good with that. I mean, there would be no other reason to do that other than if you had a chronic serious disease and you would want to be coached, through when to keep doing consecutive long fasts. The 48-hour fast, once a quarter, if you have a mental health challenge, if you are depressed and anxious and you're looking for a variety of tools to help you and boost your moods, then do a 48-hour fast once a quarter. You'll be totally great. 36-hour fast, that's really there for the person who's just so frustrated and cannot lose weight. So if you're really struggling with weight loss, once a month, throw a 36-hour fast at it and see how it unsticks your weight. Then the 24 hours and below, I have people vary those in a weekly, depending on where they are in their cycle. But one 24-hour fast a week can be really miraculous. Those are the 1 meal a day people. Do it once a week. Don't do it every day. And then most people are doing either a combination of something between 12 hours and 17 hours on a regular basis, except the week before their cycle.
Okay, so if you love this video, you're going to want to check out the next video in my fasting series. I know that fasting helps you lose weight without changing your food, but if you're intermittent fasting and gaining weight, then I really recommend that you look at 3 food changes.